mysterious death curse washes over the land, driven by a powerful artifact known as the Soulmonger. 4 would-be heroes have been sent to the jungles of Chult to destroy the cause of this terrible affliction. Vale, the half-elven paladin, who's just now learning of his divinely granted powers. Ubo, the total monk from a distant land, who's as quick with his wit as he is with his staff. Brilinya, Aasimar warlock, sent on this quest by her temple, discovering herself in this strange new land. And Gunslinger Cole, tiefling artificer and archaeologist, who may just dig up more than she bargained for. This motley band of adventurers must work together to brave the poisonous plants, venomous monsters, thundering dinosaurs, and rotting undead of the jungle. Join the omnipotent dungeon master Jake from Mini-Terrain Domain to see if our heroes can find the Soulmonger, uncover the deeper mysteries of Chult, and free the world from the death curse. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to Chult of Personality.
Hey Internet, it's Jake from Mini-Terrain Domain, and this is episode 48, A Difficult Situation in Chult of Personality, our Tomb of Annihilation campaign that has been going on for nearly 2 years. In fact, it will be 2 years this November that we started our journey as level 1 characters in the jungles of Chult. And what level are you guys now? 10?
13.
Not what level do you wish you were. What level are you? So we are going to pick up again. We would have been here last week, but last week we had an issue with it was Twitch's fault, actually. Twitch had an issue that prevented us from going live. As you can see, we are down a Marquise tonight, so there will be I will be playing the role of Dunala. But we've got Mike, we've got Megan, we've got Connor, and we are going to get started in just a moment. I would just draw your attention down to the lower down here, lower left-hand screen under Megan. You can see the icons for Jasper's Game Day and Initiative Coffee Company. There's more information if you type !Jasper or !Coffee about how you can help financially support an organization that is designed to prevent and raise awareness about suicide. Down in the other corner, you will notice the D&D Beyond logo. That is because D&D Beyond has graciously granted Mini-Terrain Domain insider access, giving us the ability to manage our entire campaign through D&D Beyond, including our characters, which is why, if you're watching on your computer, you can mouse over this screen, and over here on this side of the screen, the icons for the characters will pop up. You can see who they are, what levels they are, what their current hit points and statuses are. It's very cool, very awesome. Thank you to D&D Beyond for that. There's going to be a lot more announcements taking place during the 10-minute break that we will have about midway through, about other shows on the channel and stuff like that. 2 final things I want to bring up. One is the domain dice, all of the rules of which are cruising along the bottom in that handy dandy scroll. Domain dice are these little devils. In this game, they're called domain devils that you see below me. The players currently have 7. You, the viewer, can give them more by subscribing to the channel, by resubscribing to the channel if you're a returning subscriber, or through things like raids, or you can tip the channel $5 through the tip icon down below the stream, or by cheering 500 bits. Every 500 bits of cheers or $5 tip earns them a domain dice or domain devil, and they allow them to re-roll d20s and have other awesome benefits. That's our way of allowing you to participate in the campaign. The final announcement that I have is, if you find yourself struggling, if you find yourself in need of somebody to talk to, we encourage you at any time during the stream, and you can see the information is also part of that scroll at the bottom. At any time during the stream, you can type !help, and that will get you the information for a handful of numbers. You can see it's a much bigger block of text because I have included the Canadian information. Since this stream, I'm now the only American here. But we have a lot of Canadian friends, both in the streams, in our viewing audience, and other streamers, so I wanted to include this stuff. If you need somebody to talk to, do not hesitate to call, in the United States, the National Suicide Hotline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255, or you can text 741-741. In Canada, the crisis text line can be reached by texting CONNECT for English or Parlor for French to 686-868. And the new Canadian Suicide Prevention Services, CSPS, by Crisis Services Canada, enables callers anywhere in Canada to access support by phone in French or English by calling toll-free 1-833-456-4566, and that is available 24/7. I know I just threw a lot of numbers at you. Again, you can type !help at any time. We highly encourage you, if you need somebody to talk to use that. Do not hesitate to use that. Oh, parla? Is that how you say it? Are you messing with me? Parlay? Parlay. There you go. Not parlor. See, this is why I'm not... well, this is one of many reasons I'm not French, I guess. Parlay. Okay. So, that is all I have for announcements. Now, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to bring you up to speed in case you have missed out on things, and since it's been a couple weeks, bring the players up to speed on just what the heck is going on. So you guys have been, for a little while now, you have entered finally the Tomb of Annihilation. You are hot on the trail of this so-called soulmonger, the source of the death curse in not only Chult, but in all of the realms, that prevents anybody who has died from being resurrected, and it also is causing people who have previously died to begin decaying and dying. You were hired by somebody to find the source of this death curse, one Sindra Sylvain out of Baldur's Gate. It's been a while since you left her, and she wasn't looking too good the last time you saw her, so you know time is of the essence. You've been maneuvering your way through this place, trying to get your handle on just what the heck is going on here in this tomb. You've come across some bizarre traps, some mask-wearing wights protecting a tomb. This tomb has tombs within it for the trickster gods. Vale has personally experienced possession by a couple of these trickster gods. They're sort of manifesting as annoying backseat drivers in his subconscious. Others have resisted it, but you picked up a couple of unique magic items along the way from those. Most recently, you worked your way through a underground river, found a secret door, which Kualu has just been making short work of all secret doors with his massive greatsword, putting an end to them. And this was no exception as you blasted that secret wall door open, came into another tomb where there was a creepy child's voice coming from a skull. And eventually you dealt with everything in that room, uncovered another sarcophagus. Dunala initially opened and pulled the staff that was in there. Decided he didn't want it. Did not give Brilinya a chance, just tossed it to her Reflexively, she grabbed it, but fortunately, she was able to withstand the pressure from the trickster god spirit. But she does now have that staff in her possession. They went back through the broken door that they had opened, seeing no other escape route. Followed the river a little further to where the river seems to spill over into a large, empty abyss. Large as in depth. It's roughly in the, I think it was about 20 feet or so across. And, excuse me, the first thing you had spotted when you were looking down and even trying to ascertain how far it might be was a ledge across the way with a very ornate chest resting atop it. Brilinya, being the ASMR that she is, extended her spectral wings, and with a quick little flutter of her wings and hop across the gap, she grabbed the chest, intending to bring it back across to the others so they can investigate it. As she picked it up, lifting it from the ledge, she found that it started to lift, had a little bit of give, but seemed to be stuck to the ledge, and her hands were also stuck to the handles as the chest opens up and ornate golden teeth begin to manifest and a silver tongue begins to loll out as Brilinya has just realized she has picked up a mimic and is stuck to it by her hands. And that is why the very first thing you are going to do for me is roll for initiative. As we deal with this situation, I'm going to bring up my map. Let's see. Put a new tab, and then we're at this area. And I will get your numbers from you in just a moment. As I bring us to the proper spot. There we are. And so just as a reminder, so where the rest of you are standing, you're on about a 10-foot wide ledge with roughly shin deep water spilling past over the edge, dropping down into darkness. Brilinya is, and you're all facing north, Brilinya is about 15 feet away on about a 10-foot by 10-foot ledge, stuck there. Short of flight, climbing across the rocks is about the only way to get over to Brilinya. I'm going to roll initiative for my mimic. And let's see, so that's... Alright, so we have from Brilinya, we got a 21, Vale's got a dirty 20, 13 for Qualu, and Dunala has... Oh, that's not good. A good thing he's got... Oh, how? That's right, he's got some feats in here. I'm like, how the heck does he have a +8 initiative? So, with that +8 initiative, Dunala got a 10. Alright, so, Brilinya, fortunately for you, you are going to act first, followed by Vale, followed by Qualu, followed by Dunala, and the Mimic will be acting last in that order. Brilinya, you are stuck by the hands to this Mimic. What would you like to do?
As she is trying to pry herself, so she's like, her hands are like glued to this Mimic, or is it like...
That's what it feels like. There's a little bit of give. You do get the sense that if you pull hard enough, you might be able to break free, but you will have to use an action to do so.
Yeah, I think that would honestly be her gut reaction, is to just try and pull away if she can with her -2 strength. That's a 14 on the die, so that's a 12.
So you start to pull, and you kind of try to release your grip, and it's like there's just this almost like webbing between your fingers as it's stuck, and you start to pull away, and you feel it stretching, and your hands are snapped back to it. You almost had it. No, you guys haven't had a long rest since like 3 sessions ago. Vale, it is your turn.
I don't know what to do. I asked about the long rest because I was hoping I would have gained some spell slots back, but I didn't. So, you said 20 feet?
It's about 15 feet away.
15 feet away?
And Brilinya has her back to you. It's a slight oblique angle, so you can see both Brilinya and the mimic as it's opening up, and looks like it's probably going to try to swallow her whole.
Well, I'm just thinking if I had Misty Step, that'd be great. I mean, my only other thought would be to fix a rope to an arrow and then shoot Brilinya and then try and climb across. But that probably wouldn't be a good idea either. All right, I'm gonna run and jump for it.
All right, so you need to get at least 10 feet, which you have plenty of room with this, the way you came. However, you are running through shin deep water. You need to make an athletics check for me at disadvantage because of the water.
So an athletics check at disadvantage.
That is correct, sir.
Now, how many? Okay, good. Just in case, Wow. I literally rolled a 20, a nat 20, and a 10. I'm okay with that. So that is going to be an 18 in total.
So you start running, and you're not getting the speed initially just because of the water. And then suddenly you find that it's almost like there's this little rise right at the end, and you get that extra little burst of speed, and you're able to push off of one of the rocks. And you do this sort of leaping through the air, and you land right next to Brilinya and this mimic. And I'm going to say that is not your action, that is your movement.
All right. So that means that I'm going to attack. Well, I'm not using that die roll. That just fell off the table and landed on a natural 2. All right. First attack. First attack is going to be a 26 to hit.
Yes, that will hit.
Wicked. That'll be 13 points of magical piercing damage.
13 points of magical piercing damage.
Yes.
You jam your rapier into this, what still looks like a ornate wooden chest, but it gives with this sort of elasticity, and as you pull your blade out, you find that the blade itself is stuck, impaled in the mimic. You're going to have to make a unless you let go of your sword and leave it stuck in the mimic, you're going to have to make you'd be considered grappled, and have to, let me rephrase this because it's dumb. You're not grappled. Your sword is grappled.
Okay.
You have to use your attack, basically your other attack, to try to pull it free.
No, that's fair. All right, then I will try and do that.
All right, so that's going to be a strength check.
Okay. Not a save, right? Just a check?
No, it's not a save.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's only an 11.
You're pulling on it, and just as you're looking over at Brilinya, who's also, struggling, trying to pull free from this, you realize your sword is stuck pretty tightly in this thing.
All right. That'll be me.
Qualu. At this point,
Qualu.
there's no room for you on this ledge.
Qualu kind of growls at Brilinya. All right, don't move. As he has knocked an arrow into his longbow. As he aims for the mimic chest.
All right.
Hopefully you don't move too fast there, Brilinya, or else I might hit you.
You're a little on the quiet side, Connor.
Oh, what now?
A little better.
Nope. I will adjust my microphone in a bit. That is a 21 to hit.
That is going to hit.
For 7 points of piercing damage. And second attack with another arrow is a 12 to hit. For only 2 damage.
12 to hit. The second arrow only does 2, you said? So,
yeah.
Okay. You see 2 arrows just come right between Vale and Brilinya. Just thum, thum. Just as you see these along what were ornate gems across the top of this chest, you see both Brilinya and Vale as the gems sort of and about a half a dozen eyes start opening up. And just as quick as they open, thum, thum, 2 arrows sink about 6 inches in. And then you watch as the arrows go and start getting almost pulled inward as part of this thing. It is now Dunala's turn. I don't know what you expect me to do, all of you crowding around there. Qualu. They have no sense of strategic battle.
I can throw you.
As much as I don't doubt your strength, this does not seem like a good idea.
Perhaps from the air you can get a better vantage.
What, you would throw me up into the air above it?
I haven't heard any better ideas.
I'm looking to see if he has fly. So, I love having to play for somebody's character when that I've not played in a long time, and they're a level 10 sorcerer. As I look through all of his available spells, does he have?
You can just cast Fireball.
I know he would cast Fireball. I'm just double checking because I think he's got the yep. He can save up to 5 people. Brilinya, Vale, it is going to get very warm. But you should be okay. And Dunala's going to cast Fireball. So for Dunala, let's see. His Fireball is okay. So the Mimic has to make a Dexterity save. This ought to go well. Wow. The Mimic got a 19 on its Dex save. You watch as this whole chamber sort of illuminates with this sort of greenish energy that Dunala unleashes in the form of this fireball. It arcs through, and you see the spill of light in front of you and the eyes illuminating. It's like if you are looking in the 4 remaining eyes, Brilinya and Vale, you see this pinpoint of light rapidly go. And for a moment, this chest slightly turns transparent, looks sort of like the rock around it, and right in the middle, it ducks down, it bows in, some of the teeth disappearing for a moment as the fireball comes through, splashes against the wall, So it's going to only take half of... Is that 8d6 or 68? I always get dyslexic about that.
Just do the bigger of the two. 8d8.
8d6. So that is a total of 10, 15, 20, 25, half to 12. And despite the fact that a fireball literally explodes against the wall in front of your faces, Brilinya and Vale, you feel none of its heat. You feel a slight warmth, and the flames literally just avoid you. And for the most part, you've experienced this before, though I don't think any of you have experienced it as close as you just did. It is now the Mimic's turn. As it sort of reforms, the mouth continuing, and it is going to bite you, or attempt to bite you, Brilinya. And that is going to be, from the Mimic, a 23 to hit. As its teeth sink into you, you take 5 points of piercing damage. This hurts, but you feel this weird sort of give as the teeth have this partial, still have this sort of softness about them. But you also immediately, where it bites you, feel the puncture wounds begin to burn, and you take 7 points of acid damage in addition to the bite. But that is its turn, and it is your turn, Brilinya.
Seeing that this thing is getting stronger, and even though, and because of this, she doesn't think that she can get away from it as easily. She doesn't know what to do, so she just yells out for help. And this, as soon as she says this, a bright light appears above her head and takes the form of a small almirage. She casts Guardian of Faith, because it only takes verbal.
All right, clever. Oops. Does that do any action on its turn, or on that first?
No, it'll be on the Mimic's turn, within 10 feet of the Guardian for the first time on a turn. It'll make a dexterity saving throw.
All right, excellent. And I love that it's, and this isn't the first time you've cast this, if I remember correctly. You've done this before, this giant spectral El Mirage, which is a nice, adorable, floppy-eared bunny with a unicorn horn. Which for some reason Mike has hated since I first mentioned them. Vale.
Look, I had a bad experience with one in a different campaign. But like the old style one, like the Pathfinder version of the Almirage. So basically it's like 20 times more powerful, and it's basically like, Zool.
It's the rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
It is, except it also has a horn. So
Right.
here, let's stick another weapon on it, not just its pointy teeth.
All right.
I'm gonna try and pull out the sword.
All right, give it another strength pull.
Oh, there you go. That's better. It's 23.
This time you concentrate, your muscles strain, and it doesn't come out like with a jerk. It's like pulling a sword from a stone, as this mucus-like texture is clinging to the blade, and it even comes out a ways, and it almost looks like where you punctured it, and as you're pulling it out, it doesn't almost look like, it does look like the same like it's made of the same metal that your blade is as you pull it through, as a portion of this mimic is mimicking your blade, and then suddenly, and it doesn't just snap back. This thing that looks like a blade protruding out just goes and slowly recedes in. So that burned one of your attacks of your action.
Yeah, I'm going to attack it again. Hopefully this time something good. I don't do this very often, but I would like to use a domain die.
All right.
Matter of fact, that's probably the first time in like 8 sessions or more that
It's been a while.
Yeah, I never used domain dice. Oh, that's way better. So that's going to be that's a 26 to hit again. And this time I'm going to use I'm going to burn up one of my last 2 spell slots. Yeah, I have 2 level 1 spell slots left, and one of them's going bye-bye.
All right.
Divine Strike of the Divine Nature. Now, I remember when we started, you wanted the damage types to be separate.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you when I don't need that. Just whenever you do different types of damage, let me know if they're magical, and then what types of piercing, slashing, or
Sure.
force, radiant, whatever.
Not a problem. Okay, so first off, we've got what is it? Where are you? There you are. So first we have 8 points of magical piercing damage, and follow that up with the Divine Smite, which is 12 points of radiant damage.
Give me a... Well, no. Never mind, don't give me anything. So you strike it again, and this time your blade sears into it. And you just see these sort of flickers of this radiant energy as it strikes it. But it's still, your blade sticks to it. This mimic, it seems, is entirely in this form adhesive, and every time you hit it, you get stuck.
I'm okay with that.
It is
Qualu's turn.
Qualu continues to knock arrows and fire them at this beast. I pre-rolled. I got a 17 and a 15 to hit.
Both of those are going to hit.
That'll be 6 piercing, then 9 piercing.
6 then 9, so a total of 15. Again, the arrows strike and are absorbed into this mimic.
That is the extent of my turn.
It is Dunala's turn. And I'm just checking something because I have an idea. Okay. Dunala doesn't say anything, Qualu. He just begins to concentrate, and in Chultan begins muttering some of his arcane phrases, and you see him taking new... It's something he hasn't really used as much, and you don't see any form of energy come out. You just see him manipulating his hands in a certain way, and he's straining, and I'm going to have... His spellcasting modifier is +9, so he is going to... Oh, yeah, he's going to beat that. He begins going like this, and you watch as the entire mimic Although it does still have your sword attached to it, and it does have your Brilinya attached to it. But Brilinya, you still have, because right at the start of this encounter was when you released or activated your wings. So you do still have wings that are available, which is probably for the best, because Dunala is telekinetically lifting the mimic up into the air. I need you to break free so I can drop it into this hole. And he's holding it. And concentrating. It is the mimic's turn. And the mimic is going to... it is not going to attempt to bite... No, it is. It is going to attempt to bite because it was successful with it. It is going to try to bite you again, Brilinya. And whoops, I suppose I should roll to bite before I roll damage. Oh, okay. This is interesting because I got to figure out how this. It critically failed. Which normally would open you, or it would open itself to a opportunity attack. Brilinya, you don't really have an attack you can make, and Vale, your sword is currently stuck to it. So I'm going to let you, the players, decide. It's either going to open itself in a way that Qualu can get a shot at it, or it presents itself in a way that Vale, you can draw your sword out of it.
Yeah, give Vale his sword back.
No,
I'll put a third option in there just to sweeten the pot.
Of course.
Or, Brilinya, you can free one hand.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
Nah, you can have your sword back, Vale. You don't need Brilinya to have your hands.
You find as it's struggling against Dunala's spell, Brilinya, the adhesive nature seems to weaken a bit as this one handle loses its form and sort of turns into this almost translucent gel. And your right hand breaks free. So that is the mitigation of its critical fail on its attack. Brilinya, it is your turn. If you attempt to break...
It also has to make a dex.
Oh, that's right, because it moved. That is going to be a 12.
That is going to fail. And that's going to take 20 points of damage.
Okay. All right. So now, Brilinya, if you decide to break your other hand free because you only have the one hand free, well, it's still, yeah, you still have to make a strength check against it. But you are now sort of airborne with this thing as it's been lifted. I should have said it's been lifted about 20 feet into the air. And so, as it's been lifted up, I guess if you let go of your sword, Vale, then your sword's kind of hovering there. And you're just hovering in the middle there. So what do you want to do, Brilinya?
Since Brilinya still has her wings and she is glowing in this ethereal light, she's going to try again, this time having a little bit more of leverage against this thing to kind of flap her wings and try to add more strength to her pulling her other hand out.
All right.
Okay, that's an 18 on the dice for 16.
I would also like you real quick to roll me a... Actually, what is your passive perception? Everybody.
Oh,
you know what? Thanks to the D&D Beyond overlay, I think I can see that. Nope, I can't see your passive. Yeah, just...
I got a 14 on mine.
Brilinya, you have what? I don't know. Tell me
11.
what you guys got. 11?
11.
Vale, what do you have?
14.
13.
And Dunala has a passive of 11. So, Brilinya, you're the only one that notices this from your vantage point as you sort of push with your radiant wings. It gives you a little bit of a and your hand comes free. And you can see below you probably about 60 feet. You can just catch this. In this, where this sort of 15-foot across hole is leading down into darkness, you see this because there's sparks. As something is grinding for a moment against stone. And all of you hear this sort of as Brilinya, you watch as what appears to be a mechanism made of 5 adamantine blades angled upward begins spinning. It looks like it's an adamantine, like almost like a turbine, like fan blades that are spinning up rapidly about 60 feet below. Just saw that kind of dubstep mimic. But you did free yourself, and you have any movement you want to take?
She wants to...
Do you have 2 attacks at this level?
Only with my Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
I believe.
Disregard then.
She is going to fly up as far up as she can, and if she still has any movement left, over to the other side where Kawalu and Dunala.
All right, so you don't have to fly up to get there because you were sort of on the level. You actually would have to fly down a little ways, but you do notice that as you are you just kind of beat your wings to move over, there's a little bit of a current. As these blades are spinning up, it's drawing suction downward.
Oh.
And you can see as Dunala is watching, he's holding, with his telekinesis, he's holding this mimic aloft. You see that he is struggling to hold it. It seems to almost be dropping, as you can all hear this. That leaves Vale over standing alone on the other side on this 10-foot ledge. And your sword is currently 20 feet up, stuck in the mimic.
Oh, my damn sword back. All right. Guess there's no way that I could like leap up and grab that sword, can I?
There is a way, because you can do anything. You can attempt anything.
All right, then I'm gonna leap up and try and grab that damn sword.
Are you gonna try to grab it and hold on to it, or are you gonna try to grab it and as you swing past it, like grab it, like jump through, grab it, and jump across, or just jump up and grab it and hold on?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna try and jump up. No, I'm gonna jump up, grab it, and hold on. Because if I try and like follow through in one motion, that's still a good possibility that I'm gonna end up falling. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna jump up, grab it, hold on for dear life.
All right, give me an athletics check.
All right. Come on, big money, no whammies. All right. So that is 1 second. Athletics, you said, right?
That is correct.
Good. That's a 25. Show you.
The DC was 20.
Well then, so not only did I go and grab it, but on my way up to grab it, did a 360 no scope.
So yeah, you have just enough space to again leap up, and as you leap up and grab this thing, you grab hold and you get your hands on it. You're holding onto your sword. You manage not to adhere yourself to this mimic. And you hear Dunala cursing you. Vale, you idiot! All I had to do was let it go. Now I have to save you. Qualu.
So we got Vale dangling in the air by his sword?
From the mimic that is suspended by Dunala's magic.
And then Brilinya's just flapping away like a happy Asimar, right?
She just landed next to you.
Awesome. Good.
And you can hear, and you can start to feel a little bit of current as this adamantine blade is spinning 60 feet below you, creating suction.
Yeah. I would shout words of encouragement, I guess, to Vale, such as, "What the hell?" I will produce a rope, and I don't know if that's going to be any help here. Just to give him some way of like getting back to us. But Qualu's kind of stumbling for a real way to. He's so beneath Vale directly is like this spinning fan blade of death, correct? Yeah.
Well, yes, directly.
Yeah. All right. I guess Qualu will go to the edge, so that he's not, gonna just drop off and die. But just like, I don't know, to help Vale if he falls, and maybe can reach and grab him or something. But
Qualu, hold. Get ready to grab him before I release this thing. I can lower it and then let it go. Since it is Dunala's turn next, you can hold your action to attempt to grab Vale. And Dunala begins to... He's struggling, trying to move this thing. And now it's not that he's struggling to hold it aloft or to move it. He's trying to keep it up because the suction is getting strong enough that your hair is whipping around. Vale, you can feel the edges of your... any of your clothing or your hair just kind of whipping, being pulled against. As Dunala brings this thing close, and he's trying to rotate it in such a way that it's not going to be able to reach out and hurt you. Brilinya, is your thing still active? Does it
the Guardian?
Yeah, is it affected if it leaves its space?
Yes. 1 second.
Wait, I think I still have it up here. Within 10 feet of the Guardian. I'd say because well, the first action Dunala did that triggered it was he lifted it up. Now he's bringing it back down. It's passing within 10 feet of it.
Okay.
So it will, it needs to make a dex save.
Yeah.
At disadvantage, what's your DC?
19.
It will fail. Got a 14.
It's gonna take another 20.
You see as this spectral Elmirage does another 20, does radiant damage to it, and you see this thing begin to... And as Dunala's holding on to it, parts of it seem to be turning elastic. And Vale slips about 6 inches, still holding his sword, within this thing. Dunala brings it closer. And Qualu, I need you to make an athletics check to grab a hold of Vale and pull him while he holds onto his sword.
Vale, grab my hand! Oops, off the table. Okay, I would like to use a domain dice, please.
Alright, we're going to do this. We'll shut that down. I didn't go anywhere.
Wouldn't it be with advantage if I was helping him?
Well, it would be if you're helping him. How are you helping him?
Well, I'm going to help him by, like, reaching my hand.
Swinging out that booty.
Well,
Okay.
no.
Yes.
My hand.
So if you, yes, you can do it at advantage
Okay.
because he's reaching out.
Cool, though. I want that domain double back.
Well,
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
I see what
if
you
I
did.
don't use a domain die, I have the highest roll is a 5 plus my athletics. So I will be using that domain die.
Wait. So you are using the domain die.
I am.
After all. Yep. Okay, now change it back again.
Because I rolled a 2, and then I rolled a 5, and finally after the third roll is an 18. So it's gonna be a 27 total. Because I'm pretty sure a 12 is gonna get it.
All right, Vale, I need you to make a strength check to maintain your other hand to be able to pull your sword free of the mimic, but you can do so at advantage because its grip is weakened.
Nope. That is an 18.
You pull it free as Qualu grabs your hand and pulls you, and your sword comes out trailing this mucus-like substance. Dunala standing next, it's getting crowded here, and Dunala standing next to you. Is everybody free? And he releases it, and you watch as this thing just goes, and just it seems to almost turn to like water. And it's kind of cartoonish where it kind of holds its form and seems to fall from the bottom. Like if you've ever held a slinky and let go of it, it seems to go. We need to be careful about grabbing hold of chests. And you can hear that. And the wind is just picking up. We need to get out of here.
I know my chest is not a monster.
And Brilinya,
I push Qualu right over into the blades. It's like, nope.
Brilinya, you're the only one with a high enough. No, wait, you had the 11, didn't you? Vale, you had the 14, right?
13.
What'd you
I'm
have,
not sure if that's
Qualu?
enough. For passive perception.
Yeah, your passive perception was 14.
I had the 14.
Qualu, it's probably fitting, being that you're Dunala's best friend. You're the only one that notices this. Initially, as the others are turning to leave, you see Dunala go to take a step forward, and then he goes, "Oh shit." As you see this mucus-like substance, his hair sort of pushes forward, and this mucus-like substance seems to kind of wrap partially around his head. And then he goes and is yanked backwards. You turn and watch as
No!
Dunala is pulled with the remnants of this mimic, with its last shred of life. It reached out its pseudopod and adhered to his head, and you watch as Dunala and the mimic fall down this shaft, and they fall faster than you would expect because of the question now is, 1, do you have dark vision?
I am an orc with dark vision, yes.
2, do you watch or do you turn away? 3,
He'll look away.
2.
He'll like, oh no, I can't watch my own friend die like that.
You look away and you all hear for a moment this sound of just disturbance of something striking metal for a moment. And then all you hear is the Do you look back at all, Qualu?
Maybe one little glance.
With your dark vision, it's hard to tell because everything is rendered in black and white. But you can see the blur of motion where this blade is, and there is a dark stain forming a rapidly spinning movement in the center of it, and you begin to hear the blade it's starting to spin down, but it's going to take a while. But you know that there is no way this mimic or Dunala would have made it through that spinning blade.
And like Qualu's probably on his belly, trying to reach down, try to reach down and dive after Dunala, but it's all too late.
Brilinya and
Just
Vale,
like-
you hear Qualu as he called out, and now he's sort of almost laying down in the water, calling out Dunala's name, looking over the edge of this precipice that you all just escaped from. What do you do, Vale and Brilinya?
And imagine that as Brilinya turns to see this, she sees Qualu laying in this water, reaching down, and she's still bathed in this ethereal light, and it takes a few moments for her to put the pieces together, and she starts to run to head over the edge, but she can feel the light fading and her wings beginning to shrink. And so as she gets to the edge, she would have to like skid to a halt, more along a primalness of self-preservation than anything. Her body just physically tried to stop her so that she wouldn't willingly fling herself over this edge. But she goes and she turns to Qualu. What happened? Where's Dunala?
He's gone. This tomb ate him. He's gone.
Gone as in fallen, or... And she, I think of that, would also hear the blades too descending.
Do you look over the edge?
She would, yes.
The blades are still fast enough that it looks like there's more than just the 5. They have that motion blur to them. But you, now that they're even slower than when Qualu first looked, you can see what is definitely blood coating all of the blades as they're spinning down, creating this blur of darkness in the center of the circular spinning motion.
Immediately upon seeing that, Brilinya cups her hands to her mouth and slowly backs away from the edge. No. And like, even when she falls and falters with her step, she's still trying to back away from the edge.
Yeah, you're sort of stumbling backwards, slipping a little bit on the wet rocks of this shin-deep water. What about you, Vale? In this same moment, what's your reaction?
I mean, I think I kind of understand what had happened, even though I may not have actually like necessarily have seen it. I think I kind of have a feeling I kind of would have gotten what I just don't look and just think, what do we do? Now what do we do?
We push on for his daughter's sake. It's the only thing I can do.
All right.
You do know, based on your travels thus far on this first level of the tomb, that this way seems to be blocked by some sort of activated rotating blade. Previously, you entered a room that seemed to have no exit. The only recourse seems to track back about a half hour along this underground river, back to where you entered it, which was, if you recall, you had in the first little tomb area where those masked wights were, you had discovered a secret entrance that had triggered a gas explosion behind it. And then you had descended the stairs, and that's where you found the river. And you went to the one direction, you didn't go the other direction. You also know that there's that room in which you defeated the wights, or the other dead-end room, but that had a lot of mummified spiders that were crawling out of the walls. There are a couple of options, and for that matter, you did find a wandering skeleton key in this river. But other than that, you have a couple options if you want to find a place to try to rest up and regroup, or you can power on. What would you like to do?
We should take a moment. Just say something for Denala.
I agree. A moment of silence. Let's get out of this chamber here. It reeks. It reeks of doom. You cannot stand to stand here.
I agree. Let us go.
So you're going to track back along the river. Are you going to go? Where are you going to go? All the way back to the beginning? Are you going to go to that first room, the nearest room that has the spiders?
Qual is looking for probably like a little smaller, safe chamber that we could just moot in, have a little bit of a caucus. Someplace that we've already cleared that doesn't have too many death traps in it.
The best plan for that then would be if you went back the half hour down the river to that tomb where you defeated the wights. There were no other entrances, or there was only the two entrances. You do, if you choose to go that way, which it sounds like you guys do, then when you get back to the stairs that leads up there, the river does seem to come from the west, and you once again hear that sound of rushing water, like, which now does sound like a waterfall may not too far away be feeding this river. And then there's the stairs that lead up into that area. The only other entrance is the shattered window where Qualu broke through the crystal glass to get you guys into that room. It is 30 feet or 25 feet by 35 feet with the 6 stone, well, yeah, one of them pulled out because that was blocking the secret entrance. 6 stone thrones in alcoves. And you just want to take a rest in here?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to short rest it, or are you going to attempt a long rest in the Serax tomb? Which you're,
okay.
you certainly can.
Maybe a long rest would be best.
Yeah.
Never do that again.
I mean, according to the rest of us, might be that maybe we'll take a long rest.
Oh God, both of you, get out. Get out. Get out.
Judges, I'm going to allow it.
Surely you jest.
In fact, I was going to say,
Sustained.
in fact, you need to rhyme.
I just did.
I know, you beat me to it.
All right.
So
we're
During
taking...
this long rest, have you been working on your crest? You've been carving?
I'm gonna put my sword through your breast.
No, not my chest, but my breast.
Well, it sounded a little bit more poetic.
My bosom.
I doth protest.
All right, you know what? Before you lose all
This
of
is
your
no
followers,
contest.
before you lose all of your followers,
It's just a mere jest. When
I'll
we
just
take this
I'll
long
just gain a
rest?
better set of followers than the ones that love the puns.
It's all just
It'll
one
be-
big fest.
It'll be like winning a contest. I know you just used that one.
I
Okay.
literally just did.
all right, I'm
So-
done. We're done
so-
here. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
You're going to take a long rest in the wake
That's the best.
of Dunala's death. Are you setting up any kind of watch? I believe Vale, do you have the trance ability? I can't remember.
Good question.
As a half elf, I don't remember if you get that. I don't think you do.
I don't
No,
think it's like that anymore.
I don't
Nope,
think so.
only a pure blood elf gets trance.
That's what it
Half
is.
elves.
However, Brilinya doesn't need to sleep
Oh,
anymore.
you don't because of your warlock ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she would just say to the others, I'm going to stay up and keep prayers and a vigil for Dunala. You all get a good night's rest.
Quali will have a hard time actually sleeping, but he'll rest, he'll sharpen his sword. He'll just it almost seems like he takes out this grief by maintaining his gear. Waxing his leather pauldrons or something. Whatever people do to armor.
I think that Brilinya would come over to you at some point if she sees that you're awake. Do you have any stories about Dunala? Before he was, well, like he is now, or was.
I knew him as a child. When we were both younglings.
What was he
Many
like?
stories. He always got into trouble, that one. Couldn't keep his mouth shut. Always good for a laugh. The elders didn't appreciate it most of the time. He was a smart one. He is a smart one. He was the smart one. I remember us playing down at the water's edge. Taking the crabs there and putting them on their backs and watching them struggle.
That
We were
sounds
young.
horrible.
That was a children's game. Of course, in the water, the wave would come wash them up and put them right back on their little feet again. Sometimes they'd snip and snap at you. But there's one day at the beach. We saw something strange and beautiful in the harbor. Some great fish. As it danced above and below the waves. It shone like a torch. Every day after, Dunala would paint it, that fish. Paint it on or draw it with chalk. Paint it on paper. Paint it on in his mind. I think it meant something to him. That was just when he was a child. When we were older. We'd work at the docks together, you know this. Many long days, long nights. Every day was a good day with Dunala. when I saw him, his wife heavy with child. I was happy for him. It was so nice to see him warm. His daughter means the world to him. I'm not a parent. I don't know how it feels. But I know it's something really important to him.
But
I want to keep
you
her safe.
raised her. You protected her for a long time, didn't you?
Only a few months. In his absence, when Dunala fled, disappeared, he was being chased by agents of the night. People don't show their faces in the port city of Chult. I knew that it was my task to watch over her, to protect her in her time of illness. I knew he'd do the same for me if our shoes were swapped.
When all this is done, will you go back? Continue to take care of her?
She's here in the jungle city of Omu.
Right. I mean, when all this is over and we do what we need to do.
I pray she gets through this all. I hope for it, but I see this place as a place of doom and death and nothing but. Fear grips my heart. A fear that I've not felt. A fear that only I have in the dreams that cause me to stir. Ones where the eye of Grumsh stares into me. You'd call them nightmares, I believe, but they are different for a half-orc like myself.
For some reason, I cannot sleep anymore. I do not need to sleep anymore, but I still have nightmares when I wake, so I know what you mean. But we have to have hope for everyone who has been hurt by this, who we've seen. Dunala's daughter, Syndra.
Hope seems distant to me right now, but I do have duty. Duty is what will push my legs forward and guide my sword arm to strike true. It is duty that pushes me. Perhaps it will be replaced with hope. But it seems foreign. Hope has been driven away by fear, and only duty stands. I will do this for him. I will do this for his daughter. When it is all done, I hope I will still stand as a man can stand.
Brilinya would nod her head, but silent. And she would sit there and draw an almirage in the sand. An almirage and a snake. But they stand side by side. None attacking or going after the other, but seemingly calm next to each other. She would draw this in the dirt and scratch it into the stone, whatever it is underneath her, again and again, until the morning.
What about you, Vale? Anything in particular?
I think for the most part, Vale is exhausted. All the spells being thrown out and everything else, it doesn't take him long. It probably even took him a lot of his strength just to be able to walk back to the back to the back to that the safe area. So I think for the most part, just kind of fix my kid up just a little bit, but I think I even end up falling asleep probably partway through. Just end up passing out, just from sheer exhaustion.
Qualo, did you say that you were eventually going to sleep, or were you trying to stay awake?
Qualu would sleep, but it would be difficult for him.
Qualu, as you drift off to sleep, you find yourself standing once again on that shore, looking out at the sea. You see a young dark-skinned Chultan boy playing with a young green-skinned half-orc, flipping crabs over. And as you watch them, as the sun is setting, you see, or rather hear, a little shuffle of cloth movement next to you. And you feel the soft, small hand slip into yours. And with a glance to your side, you see Dunala's daughter holding your hand, looking out over the sea. Brilinya, as you're making your drawings and you draw this El Mirage and the serpent side by side, you sense a presence next to you. It doesn't make a sound, but you see a translucent form sort of slightly gain, almost, it doesn't become fully corporeal, but it has a little bit of a presence before you as this sort of spectral image of Dunala crouches down and just traces the spectral finger along the serpent and then along the edges of the lines you've drawn for the El Mirage, looks at you and smiles and just nods slightly. And then he turns and he looks over his shoulder, and you see as another figure emerges, a familiar tiefling woman, long coat, holster at her side. As you see Cole, who you now know to be your sister, also gain a slight translucence. She looks at you, and she mouths something. Whatever she's saying, you can't hear, but you see as her lips move, but she seems to know you can't hear. And you see as Cole mouths the words, "I'm not gone yet. Keep trying." And then before she starts to fade, she says, or rather mouths the words, "I love you." Dunala doesn't fade for a moment. Dunala seems to stand, look one more time at your drawings, and then just turns and walks over to where Vale is curled up, sleeping, leaning up against the wall, exhaustion having just taken him. And you watch as Dunala, his sort of spectral form settles into Vale's form, mirroring and almost just occupying the same space. He shifts until his form completely occupies Vale's form and then seems to fade away. Vale, in your dreams, you find yourself walking through a seemingly endless field of brightly colored flowers, wildflowers of every kind, their floral scent filling the air. Crisp blue sky overhead, a few lazy clouds drifting along. Off in the distance, an indeterminate distance, you can see purple mountain range with white snow-capped tops. And as you walk through these nearly waist-high wildflowers, your hands just trailing along the flowers, occasionally stirring bees that buzz around but don't bother you, you realize you're not alone. Dunala's walking alongside you. And he says to you, I was here once, not long ago. I thought I would bring you here and show you what I saw when I was banished by the warlocks. This is Elysium. It is a wonderful place. But I don't want you to get too connected to it, Vale. You have a lot of work to do. There are many people that are relying on you in Brilinya and Kualu. As long as you are together, you will not be alone. And others will aid you, but you are so close. In the moment of my death, I saw things as they were. I saw things as they are. I saw the many murky images that make up the future. I choose not to see the lines that lead to darkness for each of you. I choose instead to see the lines that lead to success. But you know the one thing that I noticed, Vale? All of those lines of light that flow the brightest from you, they lead back to Ubtao. Whatever you do, Vale, know that you are on the right path.
I hope so. I'm sorry, Dunala. I miss you. Like a lot of us are gonna miss you. But you're here, though, right? I mean, Elysium's where you are now. Because it's pretty here.
It's where I want to be. And for now, while my soul is trapped in the soulmonger, this is what tries to keep, where I try to keep myself anchored. I don't know. If you don't succeed, the soulmonger will devour my soul. But I choose not to see that future. I choose to see the future in which you succeed, and I am here. And that you, Vale, Istafall, will one day tell my daughter that she too can meet up with me again in Elysium. But you must continue your journey, Vale. Continue doing what you are doing. And you notice as he's saying these last words, he seems to be just almost like a painting that water was poured on, melting away, his image blending with the wildflowers. Stay on this path, Vale. Keep Ubtao in your heart. And in the fading moments of Dunala walking alongside you, for a moment, the last remnants of the dream, you see you are no longer in this field of Elysium. You are standing next to a tree, floating on a piece of rock that you've been to before, known as the heart of Ubtao. Brilinya and Qualu stand next to you, and you watch as this old, dead, hollow tree begins to blossom. And that is where we are going to take our break. If anybody's here watching, we'll be back in 10 minutes. Stick around, and we will continue this session as soon as I find the button to press. And we are back. You have all successfully completed a long rest in the wake of Dunala's death. So you should have everything. Well, with D&D Beyond, you just have to push the long rest button and confirm it. So you get all your spell slots back, all your hit points back. But you are now all very acutely aware that it is just the three of you. Brilinya, as a reminder, I believe it's a invocation that you used when you were looking through the walls early on. What was the range on that? Because I need to remember what you saw.
30 feet.
Okay. Give me an insight check.
It's a 7.
Okay. So you're in this roughly 30 by 40 room with the sarcophagus in it that you've purloined the ring of protection from. Vale, occasionally you hear I'm trying to remember which trickster god is in you.
It's the I think it is the Almirage.
It was not the El Mirage.
The one that starts with a Z.
It was the Zorbo.
Zorbo, that's it.
Which one is Zorbo? It wasn't Wongo. It was Obalaka. Was it Obalaka? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Obalaka. So you get a little bit of this sense of nervousness, and while you're sitting, like, why are we back here? This is where I was buried, where I've been buried for so long, and now you're back here?
Think to myself, to Obalak, I would say, we need to rest. Unlike you, we're not dead. So just don't worry about it, and we'll get out of here quickly enough. Look, like it or not, you're here for the ride. So you just better hope that you help me in some fashion so I don't die. You don't end up being some wandering spirit inside this horrible place until your soul gets sucked into the soulmonger, and then what? Just calm down.
Oh gosh, I don't want that.
Exactly. So, maybe you could start helping. Or if you can't help, piss off. Go see the jungle. Have you ever thought about going to see the jungle again? Maybe you can just, apparate outside. Just go have a look-see.
Oh, no, I can't do that. This is safe here with you.
Right. Okay. Then if you think you're safe here with me, then relax. Because we're all here for a reason. And things are going to get done for a reason.
Qualu and Brilinya, Vale is talking to himself.
That's fine.
You only hear one part of a conversation.
It's just Vale being Vale. Qualu knows that he's crazy.
I think Brilinya would. I can imagine that as he's having this conversation, Qualu and Brilinya are just kind of eating whatever rations they have. They just are like looking at each other and looking back. A Vale looking at each other.
It's like someone with long hair talking on a Bluetooth, but you can't hear the Bluetooth. You think they're talking to you, and then you think there we go. Then you think they're talking to themselves, and then you don't know what's going on.
So,
are you doing okay, Vale?
I'm fine. It's just Obalaka. He's nervous, and unfortunately, because he's inside of me, he's making me nervous. I don't want to be nervous, but I am.
I don't want to disturb you too much, but I'm a female. I'm not a he.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm actually sorry about that.
No, it's my fault. I should have clarified.
No, it's not. No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's, just. I mean, I don't know a lot about.
You need some time alone.
No, I don't need any time alone, Qualu. I think you missed a spot in your great sword.
So, as a reminder, because it's been a long time since you were back in this room, you do have the stairs that you came up from the underground river. There's an unexplored portion to the southwest. When you discovered this door hidden behind this throne, you discovered it because Dunala and Qualu found a cross current. And you, having just spent 8 hours in here, there is still a little bit of a cross current. And Brilinya, you probably would have noticed it more than anybody being awake for this time. That seems to go directly north of where this open passageway is, towards the other throne directly opposite. There's also the broken window that leads back into the hallway in the T intersection where the devil face was, and an unexplored area to the east in which there you did see that there was a balcony and an open area. So you have a couple of options to explore at this point. What would you like to do?
Where do you guys think that we should go?
I don't know who laid out this place. Such strange architecture. The whole place is a maze. I don't know which way goes deeper in and which place is just a death trap.
Actually, wait a minute. Hang on a minute. I'm going to talk to Obalaka, so I'm not talking to myself. So let's just, put that one to bed. Obalaka, have you ever explored this tomb, this place, or have you just been stuck in that sarcophagus for the whole time?
He thinks he's talking to Obalaka.
Anyway.
Once I was entombed here, I've never explored any of this area. I don't really know exactly where we are. And that I do not like that.
All right, well, here, to take you up to speed, all right? We're in what looks to be some type of a large underground network of tombs in the side of the cliff in the city of Omu. Does that help?
There's more tombs?
Well, it seems to be a rather large, interconnected sort of thing, yeah.
I don't even know how I got here.
Okay, well, how about this? Is there a way for you to come out of my body and then just go kind of exploring a bit? Maybe help us, help you, help us by just kind of wandering a bit.
No. If I'm not in the ring, I'm in you. Or someone else.
So if I took off the ring and like kind of like hooked it like 50 to 100 feet down a hallway.
Oh God, why would you do that? Then I'll just be in the ring in a hallway.
Well, I mean,
Please,
all right, fine.
Please
fine,
don't do that.
Fine.
And then you hear, even though it's in your mind, you hear the sound of feet, and then you hear what sounds like a door shutting, and then you hear. It sounds like somebody ran away behind several doors in your mind. And for the moment, you don't feel the strong presence of Obalaka. But at the same time, you know that Obalaka is right there. This is a spirit inhabiting your body.
Right, well, mistakes were made. So, I guess we might as well just walk around, I suppose.
Do we want to go into the area that we haven't been entirely? With the balcony? That's the one with the balcony, right?
Yeah, if you
That
go through the
whole
crystal window and down the T intersection past the devil face, you will find the balcony that you saw. And that is a phrase that will only be uttered in D&D.
Or do you think we should spend some more time here?
No. If we don't get moving, just gonna wind up stuck here and then eventually dead by some wandering thing, probably. No, I'm with you. I think it's a good idea. We should probably head down back towards this balcony, this veranda, whatever it is. You ready, Qualu? Did you get that spot you missed on your sword?
I'm ready. Oh.
So we're going to head out in that direction.
So you're going to head towards the balcony.
Yarp.
Yes.
All right. Who is taking the lead?
Me.
Well, that was quick.
Qualu will lead.
All
You would
right.
also see that Brilinya is carrying and using the new staff that she has at...
What? I know I gave it to you, but what was it? The staff of the Python?
Yes.
Yes. Wunderbar.
Dunala chucked at her.
I'll bring that up so I can remember what it does. All right. So you begin walking. You leave the room. You hear the crunching of broken crystal glass underfoot as you pass through the crystal window that Qualu destroyed with his greatsword, allowing you entrance into here. You pass over the iron grate which the river flows underneath. You come to the T intersection where the giant devil head sits on the wall with that impenetrable blackness where its mouth is. To your right is the dart-trapped hall that leads to the now closed entrance where you came in the tomb. But you continue for another 30 feet until you walk up to this wooden balcony. As you continue and you are now facing east, you see that this balcony goes all the way around an area. It is only a passage of about 5 feet in all directions, but the balcony stretches, the opening rather, is 40 feet across, and you can see down below into an area where you're looking down and you can just sort of make out that there's more stairs. As you look actually to your left, you see that the area continues on for quite a ways and seems to disappear off to the left. But about, let's see, about 25 or 30 feet to your left, you see that there is a set of stairs that head down where this balcony is. And you see more stairs and another balcony about 30 feet below. You see across the way, 40 feet across, you see another hallway leading towards a darkened alcove. You can see to the north where the stairs descend. I'm pointing at my map like you guys can see it. It goes, if you were to walk all the way around the perimeter of this 40-foot open balcony area and come back up and past where that darkened alcove is, you would see that it disappears down a hallway, a narrow hallway leading to the north. As you reach the balcony and you look down where you see that there's more stairs and it seems to lead even further down below, I need to tell you before you decide what you're going to do, what you see. And what you see is not that, and not that, and not that. There we go. What you see is, looking down quite a ways, you can see what appears to be 4 stone pedestals with what looks to be crouching gargoyles. But this is way down. This 45-foot or 40-foot across balcony seems to be a staircase that descends all the way down to the depths of the tomb. One level below you, as you're looking down, all of you glimpse a pale figure wearing ragged clothing. The figure is that of a dwarf. And as it's shuffling along, you see it suddenly stop, and its face turns to look up at you. And it is wearing a mask that is carved in the likeness of this little guy right here. One of the devil faces. Its mouth open in a silent eternal scream as it turns to look up at you. It takes a step backwards and vanishes into shadow. What would you like to do now?
Well, I have a feeling that figure down there probably isn't the friendliest.
I imagine seeing a friendly face in this place is going to be a bit of an impossibility. I think it's definitely just going to be the 3 of us, the only friendly people ever in this place.
So do you think we should stay up here and look at the rooms up here? Or do we go down right away?
I will not put an enemy at my own back.
No, I agree with Qualu. We should scour around, search everything here, make sure there's nothing that can attack us, and then move on. Slow, methodical. It's the only way to be sure.
I think that's smart.
If you ignore the stairs going down and wish to stay on this level, you have immediately to your left, you have a narrow passageway that heads north about 60 feet and then disappears to the west, which is to the basically back in the direction you came from, but 60 feet northward. Or you can circumnavigate the southern edge of this balcony area, and there's the darkened alcove and then another narrow passage to the north. So you have 3 possible directions to go: close north, distant north, or eastern alcove.
I say we go to the closest one here, and she would point to the one that's close north. because it's the quickest, the most there.
Yeah, could agree with that.
You've got the fancy eyes. You can see what's beyond this place. What's hidden in the walls.
I can only do it sparingly. I can't do it all the time.
Save it for when we need it.
Okay.
And I think all three of us can see in the dark fairly well.
I can see in the dark and in the dark, yes.
Right, that's it. Connor, please roll up a new character. I'm going to kill you.
All right, I'll be Kuala, half-orc barbarian, here to avenge, with his barbarian rage, his fighter brother.
That was terrible. So I'm assuming that Kuala's going to go ahead, or lead the front, lead the van.
Yep, Kuala will kind of take a few steps ahead and, just brandish out his wicked-looking adamantine greatsword and kind of just give a glance around, make sure there's no, little spiders in the shadows or little creepy-ass goblins or something, whatever lives in here.
All right, I'll bring up the rear.
All right. The three of you begin moving, and you can see as you're walking along, it's in only about 15 feet. 20 feet, you pass by the narrow staircase leading down to the next level. Glancing down it, you do not see any sign of the mysterious dwarven masked figure. You continue northward for another 40 feet. The passage takes a sharp turn to the west, turning left. You can see, as you walk along this narrow 5-foot wide passageway, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 feet before it opens up. And you see ahead of you, Kualu, as you're leading the way. The room opens up like this to only 15 feet wide. You can see that 40 feet across the room, in an alcove, there stands a statue. This statue is that of a knight gripping a large iron shield. He stands with his left hand holding the shield in front of him. His right hand is holding a sword, a massive greatsword, much like your own, by the pommel. It's point down. The entire western wall, all around the knight, all along, or rather the floor, I should say, where this knight is in this alcove, you see shards and flakes of rusted metal at its feet. You can see that there is about 30 feet into the room, 10 feet before this wall with the statue, there are two passageways, narrow like the one you are in, one to the north, one to the south. Are you going to continue on? You don't see any, there's no other alcoves or anything, and you can see, because of the angled walls, there's nothing can hide out of view as you enter this room.
I'll take a few steps in.
As you step into the room, Kualu, as you enter the room, you feel a tugging sensation. And I need you to make a athletics check.
You got it. It's going to be a 16 total.
You're holding your greatsword and you feel it seem to sort of pull in your hands forward towards the west. And there's this moment as you just kind of grip it where you hear and feel for about an inch as your feet slide on the stone floor. Something is pulling you strongly towards that western wall, but you have resisted it. But you can feel that tugging sensation, particularly coming from your greatsword.
Qualu will grip the greatsword even tighter, knowing that he doesn't want it to be possessed by whatever creature's trying to grab it from him. He'll take a few steps back, and he'll kind of he'll yell back to the others. Something's tugging at my weapons here. Hold onto them tightly when you enter, lest you be pulled in.
All right. I'm bringing up the rear, so I'm kind of checking our six as we're going in.
So you head back in, Qualu?
Yep. And he's just going to make sure to get good footing.
I need another athletics check as you enter the room. Brilinya, are you wearing any swords or daggers or anything like that?
Nope.
And you wear robes, not armor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You don't feel anything as you enter.
You have that staff.
Which is wood.
Yep.
So you don't notice anything as you walk into the room.
I got a 17 athletics to resist it.
And you still feel that tugging. Vale, as you enter the room, I need you to make an athletics check.
Double check something here.
Qualu, are you wearing armor?
I am wearing full-on breastplate, I believe, yeah.
I need you to re-roll both of those checks because they're done at disadvantage.
Okay.
If you're wearing armor, metal armor.
I can't remember what I got on the first roll.
The first roll you got, I think, was an 18.
Well, I got an 11 the second time around for the re-roll in that one.
All right.
And then my 17 will become an actual 18. Okay, so it stays at 17.
All right, so we're going to go, since it was first, we're going to use that as your second check, but it's because it was the first roll. As you come into the room, and Brilinya's coming up behind you, you feel the pull very strongly. And you would see Brilinya and Vale, just as you're starting to enter the room, you see Qualu holding his greatsword, and suddenly his arms are stretched outward towards that west wall. And his feet are sliding across the floor. You have to determine, Qualu, if you're going to let go of your sword or if you're going to hold on to it. It is so strongly pulling that you're about to be pulled off your feet any second if you maintain your grip on it.
Qualu, you should step back out of the room.
3, 2.
He'll just keep struggling against it. He's not going to will it apart with the sword.
You watch as Qualu's, and suddenly he's lifted off his feet as he goes flying across the room and slams into the statue of the knight. Sword first. Qualu, as your adamantine greatsword slams into the statue, immediately your breastplate also slams in. You are going to take let me see where you were. So you walked in 5, 10, so it's 1, 10. You're going 30 feet. So you are taking 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And you watch in horror as your greatsword disintegrates into rusted flakes of metal and flutters to the ground. And around it, your breastplate disintegrates into rusted metal flakes on the ground. They are destroyed, both of these items.
He giveth and he taketh away.
Both of these items have been destroyed. As soon as your breastplate and your sword are gone, you drop to the ground. You feel, if you have any other weapons in sheaths or in your pack, any other metallic items, you feel the pull against them, but if they are sheathed, they are not destroyed.
Yeah, I've got some smaller hatchets that probably get a bit of a tug.
So
and the arrowheads of my arrows.
Yeah, I would say your quiver is quivering. You hear the rattling of the arrows in the quiver as they're just rattling against each other. Here we go. A sort of and you can all hear that sound. And Vale, as you step into the room, what did you get on your athletics, Vale?
Well, actually, I was just going to ask, is this considered a saving throw?
Well, let me double check. Nope, it is a check.
Okay.
It is not a saving throw.
Then that will be an unnatural 20.
You find yourself, as you enter this room, was your sword sheathed, or did you have it at the ready?
I probably would have had it at the ready, especially if I heard any.
You do feel that your blade is being drawn towards this knight statue, and about the time you're feeling that, but it's a relatively, compared to Qualu's blade, much smaller. You feel that it's being pulled away from you, but you're able to hold it firmly. And then you watch this as Qualu is drawn off his feet, thrown across the room. And as he hits the statue, you see his breastplate and his sword disintegrate into rust. You all now know that some magical property is pulling metallic items towards this shield and destroying them. Brilinya, I imagine you probably have a few buckles and things like that, so you do feel a little bit of that. Maybe if you're wearing any kind of a necklace or rings, a little bit of a pull, but not enough that is dragging you. You can all now see that there are also the two passageways, one that leads to the south and one to the north, and those are the only exits out of this room.
Well, Qualu is now standing in just his Under Armour garments, with no weapons.
He's just got an Under Armour compression shirt.
Yeah, one of those, helps absorb the sweat and dissipate, the
Right.
heat properly. Yeah,
And it's in Marpat, so it looks, a lot tougher.
yeah. It's got like a microwave in it. Yeah.
Resisting the pull and seeing what happens, I would probably sheath my weapon and try and tie it, using a piece of string or something. Try and tie it to the sheath, or even if it has a snap or something that goes over the pommel, to kind of keep.
You're able to secure it, but you still feel this pull. You're not wearing any metallic armor, if I remember correctly. Correct?
That's correct. Yeah, it's a dragon scale mail.
So you're feeling that pull, and it does threaten to pull you towards it more the longer you stay in this room. And as you move any closer, you feel the pull. So you have to decide if you guys are going to go back the way you came, or if you're going to go north or south.
Brilinya would walk into the room until she can see the ways north and south, and she would look down one and then down the other to see how far they go.
To the south, to your left, as you walk in, you see a 20-foot long hallway, 5 feet wide, that dead ends. Keeping in mind where you have gone, the distance you've traveled, and the directions you've gone, you actually get the sense that that dead end butts right up against that room you took your long rest in. To the north, you see a 10-foot hallway, and then you see it open up into a large circular room, and about 20 feet in, or 10 feet into the room, about 25 feet from you, you see a fountain in that room to the north. A fountain of water.
Brilinya would start heading in the direction towards the fountain.
You guys watch as Brilinya moves quickly through that hall. Brilinya, there's maybe just a little bit of a rattling as you're moving through. The second you pass into that hall, you feel no pull on anything metallic.
And I think she would even call that back to the others. There's no pull down this way. And she keeps walking.
Qualu's like desperately like fishing his hands through the rust, and it like pours out through his fingers. He's like, no, my sword, my armor, no. It's just like, it's trickling through his hands. Where is it? Curse this place. He's trying to desperately, I don't know, just to try and
you see
water.
There's so much rust down here that it looks like anybody that's ever come into this room, you can see so much armor and weapons have been destroyed by this statue. But everything is so thoroughly destroyed and just rust that when you pick up pieces, everything just crumbles to dust. So Qualu is momentarily mourning the loss of his metallic accoutrements.
First his best friend, now his gear.
Vale, what are you doing?
I'm probably gonna follow. I'll probably end up following. Well, before I follow Brilinya, I'll look back at Qualu. Look, we can find another sword. I know it sucks right now, but we can find you something. We'll make sure you get something. I don't even know if I have something. I might. We got some javelins.
I got these puny hatchets, but they're nothing but sidearms. That sword recovered deep in a Chultan tomb. Its metal was forged by meteorites. It was blessed by the old gods of Chult themselves, carved with the labyrinth patterns of Ubtao himself.
Right, well...
Why did you have a turtle on there?
Well, it's gone now, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you can sit here and cry over it until Acererak... Honestly, why couldn't you just call it Bob? Bob the Lich. I'd be like, okay, Bob. Maybe.
How do you say Bob so easily? Acererak sounds much more easy to say, but Bob is
Bab.
Bob.
Bab.
How many apostrophes are in that?
7 and a silent Q.
Excellent.
Well, do you want to sit here and cry about it, or do you want to keep going and use that anger and to fuel your own rage to kill those responsible for the destruction of you?
Crush the breath out of Acererak and myself with just my fist if I have to.
There you go. That's a spirit. We'll get you a new metal toothpick. Don't you worry.
A toothpick for giants, perhaps. I don't want a small toothpick.
Oh.
That is for rogue-like characters, not me. I am a fighter.
Ah, I see. Sure it is. Come on.
If you can fell a giant to take his toothpick, we'll consider it.
Come on. and I'll follow Brilinya down to the where the fountain is, down that way.
All right.
Ollie will no longer take the lead.
That's the spirit.
So
I'm gonna run up so I can take the lead.
Now
it's Vale's time to shine.
You all enter this room. It's only a short 10-foot hall. As soon as you enter that hall area, you no longer feel the pull. In just 10 feet, you find yourself standing in a room that is 25 feet across. It is circular. In the very center of this room is a moss-covered fountain. Standing within the fountain are 3 statues, marble statues of maidens, holding pitchers of water that they're pouring on one another. The water spills out of the pitcher, across the statues, and into the fountain, though it never seems to overflow. The water appears cool and clear. Vale, as you enter the room and you see the statue, you hear as you hear the pattering of feet and 3 doors opening, and suddenly you feel the full presence of Obalaka in your mind again. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh, now what?
Whatever you do, I would not
drink the water.
That water. No good can come from that.
Right. I think I am going to drink the water. And then I'm going to see if I have the ability to fly. I mean, surely, with your help, I can go jumping off into some chasm and then just flap my arms and you're going to save me, right?
Are you trying to kill me again?
Maybe. Oh, maybe. But you're already dead, so it doesn't really matter now, does it? But think about this. If my body is broken in 100 pieces at the bottom of a cavern, and all that's left of you is you getting stuck in this magic ring at the bottom of a cavern, I mean, no one's going to harm you. No one will ever find you. So you'll be safe.
Brilinya, he doesn't seem okay.
I don't like you.
Yes, you do, because I'm all you've got. And you're you're not all I've got. I've got friends, like real live ones.
I'd almost rather deal with Ijin than you.
Which one's Ijin again? He's a snake?
No,
I'm actually asking.
Yeah, hold on a second while Obalaka tries to remember.
Oh, darn, I've forgotten my arch nemesis.
Yes, I've forgotten what he is. Ishin.
No, wait. No, because it's the Almirage that stole the, or put that stuff in the soup. Because,
yeah, I think Ishin is the Almirage. Yep, Ishin is the Almirage.
Nailed it.
Fine.
We can try and see if we can
drink the water. I don't care.
That's a spirit. All right, so first I'm going to go up to said water. And I'm probably going to, cup it. Actually, no. I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to cast a spell.
Okay.
See if I got it. Oh. Shoot. I'm not casting a spell. I'm going to look, and I want to see... does the water look funny? I really want to give it a good once-over. Does it look kind of weird, funky?
It actually doesn't. It looks very clear.
Is there a smell wafting off of this?
Nope.
It's actually sulfuric acid.
Right. And see, this is what happens when you go on dungeon runs. You just you only make people paranoid.
It looks and seems to be clear, cool water, which reminder, the only water you've had for the past few days is the water that's generated from your alchemy jug.
This is true.
Really wouldn't touch that if I were you, Vale.
Okay, I'm gonna look around the room, or at least look around where these statues are. Are there any sort of inscriptions or plaques or?
Nope, they're just 3 marble maidens standing in the water, pouring water on each other out of their pitchers. They have playful looks about them.
Sounds like a terrible, terrible beer commercial.
They're not. I mean, they're wearing clothes. They seem like they're wearing like robes and stuff, and they just have this playful look of 3 young women that went to a water source, and they've picked up pitchers of water and are pouring them over each other, like almost like kids.
Are you actually trying to explain this away? Because that
I'm trying, and as the more I'm talking, it's not doing anything to help.
The
I'm just making it worse.
We are.
A Cyberactive frat
If you
boy.
view it from the viewpoint of fantasy medieval world, it has an innocence about it. If you remove modern beer commercials from it,
does it though?
I'm not telling you how you perceive it.
Okay.
You perceive it how you will.
Nice try. All right. Okay. So there's no plaques. There's no instruction manual, as it were. How do the faces of the maidens look? They just look like, are they carved happy or are they carved angry? Okay.
One of them's kind of got a scrunched up face, like holding back laughter. The other one looks like the shoulders are hunched a bit, like, oh, cold water just got poured down my back. They're smiling. They're playful.
I was gonna say you're really not. You're not helping at all. Never mind. You know what? Gosh, what do I have? Do I have anything? Because I tell you what. I have some rope, and rope is made out of nylon. Nylon is organic. So actually, no, I'm not really.
Nylon. This is hemp rope.
Or hemp. Excuse me. Whatever.
Fantasy world.
Never
mind that Qualu is wearing Under Armour. Your rope is made of hemp, not nylon.
Synthetic polyweave. All right.
There's lycra, but no, or spandex, but no nylon. All right. So what are you doing? Dipping your rope in the water?
Yeah, I want to see if it kind of melts or it.
It gets wet.
All right. I'm gonna bring on kind of. There's no smell. Fuck it. You know what? I'm gonna stick my hand in the water.
It's cold water.
Make a death saving throw.
at quadruple disadvantage. Roll 4d20s and
all of your organic material and only your metal items remain.
There we go. I didn't need to.
No, it feels like water.
All right. Well, I dip my finger just a little bit in it, and then I taste the water.
It tastes refreshing, fresh.
All right. Anything happens? Nothing happens?
Nope.
Okay. Then I'm going to scoop up a handful of water and I'm going to drink it.
I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Done and done.
No, wait, that's not right. Sorry. I need you to roll a d4. That's what I need you to do.
Oh, okay. I rolled a 4. Cool. Which was the worst roll.
As you drink this water, it's the water that comes out of the alchemy jug is lukewarm, and it does keep you hydrated, but it has this sort of stale and almost like earthen flavor to it because it's coming out of a jar with little hints of mayonnaise in it, because mayonnaise comes out of the same jar. This water is cold and refreshing, like natural spring water.
However,
I need you to roll 2d10.
All right. Oh, there we go. rolled a 1 and a 3.
You gain 4 temporary hit points.
Ooh. All right.
Vale,
I'm okay with
to your eyes, Qualu and Brilinya, Vale seems to really enjoy this water.
Are you?
She's
Do you feel okay?
Yeah, I feel fine. I feel great. Actually. And it's delicious.
This.
Remember, he's the one that talks to a bird in his head.
There are weirder things that we've come across.
We all know that birds love baths.
Isn't he a monkey?
Yeah, I thought
It's not a
Obalaka-
bird. It's Zorbo. Is
she's
the
a Zorbo.
Oh, I was thinking Eebly instead of Zorbo.
Yeah.
My bad.
Zorbo is the monkey-like creature. They look like demon monkeys.
He's got a monkey in his head. We all know that monkeys like baths. You ever see one of those Chultan nobles have a monkey bath out in their backyard?
Just stop.
It's canon.
Did you see a lot of never mind. All right. I mean, I am quite parched. And I think Brilinya would take a handful of this water too.
Roll a d4.
Qualu's had enough of this place. Everything is cursed to him, and he will not touch it.
That is a 1.
Give me
Got a
one
bad feeling
second. I have to check something real quick.
I think you had to roll for it.
You know what the opposite of a
I
4
get that,
is? You know what the opposite of 4 is?
Brilinya,
A 1?
I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh no.
Hold on one second, because you asked this question before about saving throws. Do you have the feature, Mike? Does Vale have the feature that they get benefits if they're within a certain distance of you?
Yes.
So it's with advantage, I believe. Is that correct?
It's
No.
You add your charisma. You add Mike's charisma
No.
to it.
It's the aura of protection. So I will grant everyone, including myself, within 10 feet, a +3 bonus to all saving
There
throws.
it is. So roll a Constitution saving throw and add 3 on top of whatever you roll.
I got a 6.
And remember that you have 5 domain dice. It's up to you if you use them. I'm just saying.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I'll save it for something important.
Save it for something important, she says.
Oh, I read that number wrong. So I'm grabbing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 D10s.
And that's how many temporary hit points you get.
How? Brilinya, I just want to double check that this is accurate. Brilinya is at 62 hit points plus 15 temporary.
Yep.
So you have a total of 77 hit points.
Okay, you're fine then. You're fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're probably okay. Unless I roll a crap load of 10s. All right, so I'm going to add this up. That's 10, 19, 28, 36, 44, 46, 50, 53. Let me just double check. Brilinya, you drink this water and you feel this cool, refreshing water quenching your thirst. And as you swallow it, you instantly double over in intense pain in your stomach. Your stomach simultaneously feels like it's on fire and like it's collapsing in on itself. You are in the worst pains that you have ever experienced internally. and you actually feel like you're dying from the inside out. And you take 53 points of necrotic damage.
Ooh, I'm actually resistant to necrotic damage.
That is so good because...
So wait, how much was it?
It was 53, so
26.
that will be 26 points of necrotic damage. As you watch, with water still dribbling down your chin, Vale, Brilinya takes a drink and doubles over in intense pain. So much so that she can't even talk for a few moments. And then suddenly, Brilinya, you and you see this black bile expelled as she coughs onto the floor.
I can imagine that you can almost like see it like come up her throat and like these veins that crawl up and out and expel itself in this black vial. She leaves heaving on the ground on all fours. I hate this place.
And that is where we are going to end tonight's session. I was about to end it with you coughing, but thank you for giving me a soundbite, Megan. That was perfect. We couldn't have planned that better. Oh man, that was one of those rolls I was very worried about, and I thought you were golden, Qualu, with your athletics checks. But then I remembered that I knew Vale wasn't wearing metal armor, and I knew Brilinya wasn't, but I couldn't remember if you had plate on or not.
Oh yeah, full-on breastplate.
That's what screwed you. So, all right, well, that was session 48, a difficult situation. So I will say that if anybody's watching this, I don't think anybody's even watching right now, but if anybody watches later, Marquise has, after 2 years, bid us farewell. He was not feeling well last week and wouldn't have been able to make the session. I gave him the choice if he wanted to make the session or how he wanted to do it. He was fine with me taking control of Dunala and letting the tomb absorb him. Though he had no say in Dunala's death, he just gave me permission to kill him if it came to that. And it just happened that you guys were literally on a precipice when we had left the session hanging. Marquise had been heavily involved with something called Scavenger, an RPG that he's been working with some others on, and they are getting ready to launch a Kickstarter in October. And that is one of the reasons why Marquise has decided to leave. It's been wonderful having him with us since the beginning. Marquise is always a wonderful player. You've seen him in other capacities here on Mini Terrain Domain or on Dice on Ice, and I'm sure he will tune up again. Karen let us know that she's still here in the chat. Which is good, because with Marquise leaving, I left it up to Mike, Megan, and Connor, and whether they wanted to continue on as the three of them or bring in a replacement character, or I should say a new character, not a replacement. And they voted unanimously. They all agreed that we would bring in another player. And so I asked Karen, and she said yes. Karen is, of course, no stranger to, especially no stranger to Connor and Megan. But we'll round out our Canadian cast. Just lovely. Karen will be joining us next week. Most likely next week. We'll see exactly when, depending on what these characters do after Brilinya nearly died from a fountain. But we'll be very excited to have, I have no idea why that got so much got moderated. Yes, we are very excited to have Karen be a part of this game. Karen can also be seen this coming Tuesday on Legends and Legacies, my every other week Fandelver campaign. Of course, you can see Megan and Mike and myself tomorrow night, along with a couple others, on All That Glitters, a Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign. This Tuesday's Legends and Legacies. Every other Tuesday, I'm over on Dice on Ice with Megan and Connor and Karen for our Curse of Strahd campaign. And then Thursday, Megan will be back with me and some others for Dawnbringers. And then every Friday night at 10 p.m. is the CFT RPG production of Curse of Strahd by Alan, with some awesome players happening right here on Mini Terrain Domain. And I believe this Wednesday is the return of Spire, The City Must Fall, with Connor as Game Master, Megan producing and playing, along with some others. That's the second and fourth Wednesday of the month, happening right here. It's a Mini Terrain Domain presents a Dice on Ice production of Spire, The City Must Fall. It's the only non-D&D campaign happening, but it is an incredible game that, using the Spire rule set that Connor is running, amazing players in all of these games. Be sure to check them out. Check out everybody's social medias, and thank you for hanging out with us tonight. And we will return next week with episode 49, still yet untitled. Maybe it'll just be called I Hate This Place, in quotes. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. And we are going to end this stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.
This place sucks.
Hey, Internet, it's Jake from...